solely with FloTrack. Here we have Joe Kovacs, and as you see, he has his own custom cereal box that is going to be under threat by his children when he gets home. So do you have a place where that can rest safely?
Yeah, safely, no. I definitely have a place in mind where I think it goes on a shelf, but I'm sure my kids are going to see it, and they're going to love seeing a picture of me for a second, and then they're going to try to shove all their toys inside of it. So I got to kind of hide it from them until they kind of understand more the don't touch this pile.
Well, I guess it's a good problem to have when your children are that invested in your career so far. And that having been said, you said in a recent interview that, obviously this is your first full professional indoor season. You've been a professional for 14 years, but now you're in this as a father. Yeah. So tell me about the significance of that. How does having some time away also help you be present for the family, but also still focus on your training?
Yeah, I mean, being a dad, the people who have kids, it changes everything. Your perspective, your time. I don't have the time anymore. Transition times, as an athlete, when I was at the Olympic Training Center, waking up, you're thinking about practice all day, and now I'm playing with Lightning McQueen all day, and then I put my kids down for nap, and then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, I'm putting chalk on my neck, trying to throw the shot put, or trying to lift the weight room. You get really good at it, not those transitions, but I think those things you learn along the way. And my wife and I kind of made a vow that we're going to enjoy the moment of being parents, because that opportunity is kind of sacred in our opinion, and we're enjoying it. But we kind of have to balance we still have to be professionals. My wife as a coach and me as an athlete, so we're trying to do our best at balancing it. It's certainly hard some days, especially with the kids. You get so good at doing something, and then they never need that again. But then you have to learn a whole new system for them. So all these different things we're learning as parents, I think it's probably helping me as an athlete in some ways, especially transition times, like I said, being more prepared, being on top of things. So I don't see it as a disadvantage. I see it as first and foremost a blessing, but also sometimes they help me out.
Outdoors went how it went last year. Probably wasn't the result you were looking for, but you're coming in with a new fire this season. So could you tell us what that's going to look like over the course between indoors to outdoors, what you want to take from last year, transitioning into outdoors?
Yeah, it's weird because I'm 36, year 14 as a pro in my career going on to. It's last season, it's just okay, you're ranked number 1 in the world, USA Track and Field, World Athletics, you win the Diamond League final, you won a bunch of meets, and it's a shitty season, But that's the way you view it, because I didn't get to go to the World Championship because I had, for a couple circumstances, I had a rough day at Eugene, wasn't able to respond the way I normally did, and, didn't get on the team. But that's just, I have to view that, I said this earlier, comparison's the thief of joy, and I'm not going to compare what I certainly know what I would have done if I had the opportunity to be there, but I also know I didn't do the job when it needed to be done, and I've taken that opportunity before when somebody should have gotten on the team, and I put myself on the team. So I don't envy or I'm not mad about that, but I'm not going to judge the whole year as being a bad thing. I spent more time last year being a dad than I did being a shot putter, and I still ended up being number 1 in the world. So it wasn't the way of course I want to win another world championship and throw farther, but I got to kind of look back at it kind of holistically and see where can I be better at that in the next season, and how can I take those things that kind of were the external factors that didn't let me respond the way I do, and try to mitigate them a little bit better going forward. So it's learning. You can never do, as a pro doing this, I'm becoming the old guy, the veteran. I think somebody told me I'm not the oldest athlete here because they have some senior events, but normally I am one of the oldest athletes in the field. But taking that experience and then still learning, not just acting like I know everything either.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
It's helpful. It's helpful because, I told somebody earlier, what I used to have to do in training, I used to have to be super pumped up and be in the weight room and try to be strong, and there was all this part. And now I can just go in any weight room and bench high 500, 600 pounds, and it's not even nothing. But I know I have to move my body and stretch and do all these other things that I never really had to do before. So it's kind of this inverse relationship. So it's always I can't copy and paste what 2015 Joe Kovacs world champion did and think that's going to help me today. I can learn from that, but I also have to realize you kind of have to play the course like a golfer, and I have a different golf course going on today.
Essentially what it sounds like you're telling me is the seniority that you have is allowing you to play more so to your expertise rather than your physicality. Does that make sense?
That's why I try to think like I've been in a lot of scenarios. I've been in a lot of bad scenarios in terms of like, maybe people bring up Doha, the World Championships where I'm in 5th place, or this past Olympics when, I was in 4th place and I had 1 throw left and 3 guys fall in front of me. How do you find a way in those circumstances? So normally I feel fortunate enough in my career, I have had the ability to find a way. I didn't find a way last year in Eugene at USA Trials, and I kind of knew, the worst part about it is I kind of knew where I was physically. I didn't have that extra gear I normally do have. But like, what can I do to learn from that? I think that's the insanity part of doing the same thing over and over. It's like, I have to learn from that every experience. Like, being a shot putter, being an athlete at a high level, like, I'm not going to take, just because this is what I did for the past 14 years, and I've had a pretty darn good career, as like that's the end-all be-all. I always have to be able to evolve, take something and learn from somebody, listen to my wife, because everybody knows she's my coach and she's the boss, but like that's, more times than not, like, I mean, she's already told me what I was doing wrong 2 weeks earlier, that I have the epiphany that day, and she'll remind me that, like, yeah, I already told you that. But like, I think that's one of those things, is just evolving and trusting the people around you.
That's huge.
Yep.
That's huge. I'm sure that's setting a great example. Children may be young, but I'm sure it's going to set a huge example for them in the future.
I hope so. I hope so. We're trying to.
Yeah.
It's funny that every time they pick up a ball, even a tennis ball, they put it on their neck. And we never taught them that. So, I mean, I know they're watching. So they're not just watching me throw the shot put, but they're watching, my wife and I, how we react to situations, and I hope we're teaching them good lessons doing that.
What does it mean to you, as someone who's been in this for so long as a field event athlete, to get to be able to be front and center at the Millrose Games?
Yeah, I think it's like, I look at this meet, especially what Ray Flynn does, allowing us to not just have the event here, but also showcase it. It's an opportunity. Like, of course I want to throw far and win the meet and all those things, but it's an opportunity for us to engage with the fans, put on a show. I'm not going to slight this and say it's not a competition, it's only an exhibition kind of thing, but like, I do know it's important because I can remember being a young athlete and seeing the people that, you see somebody do something and it kind of inspires you, even if it's not the same event. I can remember, you told me earlier you were a triple jumper. I can remember being at NCAA's when I was in college, and I was watching our guy, Hanif, triple jumping, and we were super excited for him, but then there was these 2 guys at Florida, Will Clay and Christian Taylor, going, and it was like this reality of like, what the heck is happening? They're going a meter farther than the other guy, and it was just like this, whoa, this is some next level thing. So I always remember, like, being in the stands, I think, is impactful. And I think in my career, my wife has been coaching in college, to even last year not making the World Championship team. There's a lot to be learned for not being there, being in the stands, and being a spectator. So I put myself in the seat, whoever the 5,000 people who are going to be there this weekend. My job is to throw far, it's put on a show, but it's also kind of inspire people to, in any circumstance that they have, age, good or bad, to come out there and give it your best and enjoy the moment.
Hey, Joe, it's really great talking to you. Really appreciate your time, man.
Oh, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.